Welcome
So wait,
to
how
the
do we...
next episode of The Regular Guys.
Oh, now we can say next?
Yeah, so when
Because we already did the first one, so we're saying the next.
But
we're going to go with
what
it.
should
and
we
we're talking
number
about
them?
Flight 274-800.
No, we're not.
Oh, that was wet.
Alright, welcome to The Regular Guys. In today's episode, we're talking about TWA Flight 800. So, quick little explanation of what happened. It was Transworld Airlines Flight 800 was scheduled.
Jeez, keep going. It's great.
Was scheduled to leave from JF Kennedy International Airport in New York City, and its final destination was Rome, Italy, with a stopover in Paris. It was July 17th, 1996, so I was just before my junior year in high school, and approximately 8:31, 12 minutes after the takeoff, the Boeing 747 exploded and crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. So, all persons on the flight, including the crew, approximately 230 people, perished in the explosion. And we're going to talk about the conspiracies behind this explosion and what we feel really happened.
Dave wasn't even alive in 96.
What year were you born?
93, you retard.
So you were 3 years old. You didn't even know what your wiener was.
He probably knew what his wiener was.
Oh yeah, I was playing with it by 3.
Yeah, by 3, he
But
knew
you
what his wiener
were.
was. It was just another appendage he liked to pull on.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to name off a few of the common conspiracy theories, and then we'll kind of attack them. The U.S. Navy missile test gone awry, or the U.S. Navy purposely shooting it down with a missile, is a big one. A terrorist missile strike is one that is, I've got a lot of reading on. An onboard bomb. A meteoroid strike, which is a really weird one. That's a good one to kind of touch on a little bit. And then the most probable was there is a fuel tank in each wing and then a center fuel tank. And they're saying that because of some instances that happened, that center air tank heated up, vaporized fuel, and then a short circuit caused an explosion. So, anyone want to touch on any of those that they like the most, least, or whatever you think?
Kevin first.
Go ahead, Kev. What do you think?
I think it's all bull.
You think it's all bull?
I do. I think it just blew up from malfunction.
Malpractice.
No, malfunction.
Oh, there's also the alien lasers you brought up in the last
posted
episode.
that
There
on
could
last
have
episode.
been. How do you know? There could have been alien lasers. Maybe,
How do you know?
maybe
Dave, how do you know?
the
How do
Klingons
you
were
know?
just making one more trip around and nailed it.
Maybe that whole airplane was just Clinton.
Well, it did fly from JFK, so maybe they were all just assassinated.
All right.
Maybe.
All right. Calm down. All right.
How do you know? How do I know? I don't know. You sure as hell don't know. You couldn't even find your own picture because you were 3 years old.
All right. So, Jesus Christ.
That's how I know. Oldest person sitting at the table that might have recollected is the guy in the middle. Because I was only 10.
That's true. And to be
Still
honest,
not playing with your wiener.
oh, he was playing with it by then.
Had that BBC.
Maybe I did. So what?
So, anyways, when we decided to do this episode, I looked into it and I was trying to remember.
Why would the military blow a plane out of the sky?
Well, I'm gonna hit on that in a second here. But I
And how
was
close
trying
to
to
the
remember
ocean?
this, and to be honest, I don't. They were over the ocean when it exploded. So, in the 12 minutes from takeoff to when it exploded, it was already over top of the Atlantic Ocean. Ooh, excuse me. Atlantic Ocean. So,
Maybe the people from Atlantis were just popping out of the ocean.
oh my god, he's
Nailed it.
such an idiot.
Nailed
you're
it.
so dumb. Maybe it was Sharknado. You never know.
Pray for
I don't
us.
think it was Sharknado because there have been shark attacks all over the plane.
All right.
Pray for us.
So this is, I look back at this and I don't remember this happening, honestly. And I was already in the delayed entry program for the U.S. Army at this point. So I was somewhat paying attention to stuff, but I was also an 18-year-old kid that didn't go to high school because I didn't go to high school my senior year. I had enough credits at the end of my junior year. All I did was I took government economics over the summer, and then I took English at night school in the fall. It was like 6 weeks, and then I was done with high school. So I was out working and partying all the time. So that's probably why I don't remember much about this. To answer your question about why the government could do it, before.
I mean, who was on that plane that they'd want to get?
Well, this is the thing. There was.
Could have been anybody.
There could have been.
I mean,
I was
do they
listening
even
to
know
a
who's on the
podcast.
plane?
I was listening to a podcast on it, and they said 90% of it was normal, everyday people flying back and forth to Europe. But there were some like CEOs or some bank managers, stuff like that was on that flight. So honestly, it could be anyone. Someone who was a whistleblower, someone who had some information.
Shit, they're coming to get me.
Kevin's in here. Don't
All right,
worry,
okay, moving on.
shooting down the road.
Moving on. So honestly,
I have a belly button.
Thank you for that information. Before where I am at today compared to then, back then I would say a government conspiracy would be absurd to me at my age back then. That's when I was young and still thought that my government was out there to take care of me. Fast forward a few years, I know better.
You thought wrong.
I could 100% see a government conspiracy blowing up a plane to get rid of one person and killing an innocent 229 people in the process to hide information or get rid of a whistleblower or anything of that nature. I believe that is a possibility. Do I think that someone fired a missile at this thing? No.
Who was president?
Clinton. So that pretty much says there's a 90% chance that this was a government blowing it up.
Maybe they used a laser.
Maybe I shouldn't have said it was Clinton.
No, you can't. I mean, it's possible, you know.
It is.
Anything's probable at this point.
Right. I think my thought process is it was an onboard bomb. Whether it was terrorist, because there were terrorist attacks around that time frame. Just a few years prior was when the World Trade had a bomb blown up in the parking garage underneath it in '93. So if you look at that, it could have been a terrorist attack. But my thought process is there's also a possibility that it was a government cover-up trying to take out a person or persons on the plane. Any of these things could be a possibility. And it doesn't even have to be United States government. It could have been a foreign government trying to get rid of someone on this plane. Someone that everyone else looking at the name, it seems like a normal person, but they could have information or anything that could cause them to want to be gotten rid of.
Yeah.
I want to hear Dave things.
What do you
before I
think?
come up with my own reasoning?
Because he's going to totally destroy it and say that has nothing to do with anything.
No,
Okay.
I want to hear what he says. Get off your dang phone and just tell me what you think.
No, because I came totally unprepared.
So did I, but my theory is going to be a lot better than yours already. So.
And I left my
I like
notes
this.
at home, so
Why did you leave it?
there is probable cause
Spit it out,
that
Timmy.
people think that it was the government that blew this plane up. They so in 2022, 15 families, so just a couple years ago, 15 families filed a legislation with, or a lawsuit with Raytheon, the fucking warmonger people, alleging that the flight's explosion was caused from testing of the Aegis combat system. So, what the Aegis
what is the Aegis con system?
What it is it's a defense system that fires.
So it's like an iron curtain?
More or
Like
less.
shield?
It fires RIM-66 standard SM-2 missiles at aerial targets within close proximity.
Well, then why did they shoot down the China balloon?
So that was under that was under the guy you voted for, Biden. Anyways.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
So
damn.
They're saying that it was shot under testing, not purposely,
Right.
but accidentally.
A test fire gone awry.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was shot in close proximity to the airplane, which caused
But why
the
would
direction
you,
of
why
the
would you
missile
shoot it that
to
way?
change.
Why would you shoot it that way towards inland, basically?
Problems happen
What if
all
it
the time.
blows up on land?
I
Problems happen
got,
all the
I
time.
got a quick question. Tell me if this resonates anywhere with you. The captain of the plane, his name was Ralph G. Kevorkian.
Yep.
Does that do anything for you?
No.
You don't know who Kevorkian is? Do you remember
Dr. Kevorkian?
Dr. Kevorkian?
Yeah.
I mean,
He don't know that.
They got the
Was he
same
German or
No, he was
KGB, or-
he was a
he was a crazy
he was
wackadoodle.
a wackadoodle who was helping people commit suicide
Yep.
as a doctor because he said it
So
was their
this
right
is
to kill.
the same
He was,
No, this is a
he was
different
like
one.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, this guy
dude.
was
Okay.
nuts. I just want to throw that out there. That it's
So it
just
could be.
it's probably just a coincidence, honestly. But
Right.
but the guy flying the plane was a Kevorkian,
But,
and that guy helped people kill themselves. So
Alright.
So pretty much what the lawsuit does is it alleges that the FBI and the Department of Defense realized they screwed up and just covered it up. And with the NTSB, they could,
yeah,
because they're going to do a full investigation of it, and they could just come out and say, hey, the fuel sludge blew up on this plane.
And just like that, blew up a second ago. Is that all you got? Is that your best shot? Is that
No,
all you got?
I'm putting some of them out. So
Okay.
there's a missile theory.
I think that theory is a bunch of BS. You wanna know why?
It could
Why?
be, but it's not the first time we've
See, what-
shot our own shit
I
up.
know, but I think in
And covered it
I
up.
think in '96 we didn't have the technology like we do now to do something like that.
okay.
But in '96,
I
mean,
They-
we
they
have
say-
the technology to shoot missiles at crap, but we didn't have a technology like that to be like.
so they
It's not like a SAM site type missile.
I agree and disagree with you. I think we had the technology.
Oh,
I think the
absolutely.
problem is that that's not what happened because there were hundreds of witnesses and only a small portion said they saw anything that looked like it was flying towards the plane, but most of them said that they didn't see it, they just saw it explode. So
Yes.
so
I would.
You're
say,
gonna see
I
a
would
missile
say, I
flying.
would say the terrorist bomb theory is more realistic than us shooting it down with a missile.
I
Just
agree.
I
because,
know, but
why
what
would
if it
you?
was
Why
a-
would you shoot a missile towards land?
well, it would have been
They
towards
were
the
towards
ocean
it, yes,
because
it
they were
was
out
towards
over
the
top
ocean.
the ocean.
Right.
and the
Just
the
waiting,
military-
But they didn't fire this missile from.
So
You know,
they
from-
say.
From land. Why would you shoot a missile from land?
Why would?
Well, it could have been shot from a boat too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
They're out
If you're
on the
shooting,
ocean.
if you're shooting it from a boat,
All
I
the-
mean, did the flash come from the front or the back?
all the lawsuit alleges is that it was shot by Raytheon. Doesn't say how
Or
where
where from.
when. but it was shot by Raytheon.
I
Took
just
out the plane.
I don't see
And
that.
see,
I
and-
don't see that.
And they definitely had the technology.
And this is where I have to agree with him,
Borderline.
because it
I
wouldn't
don't know.
surprise me for the military or a military contractor to make a mistake and the government help cover it up. I 100%
Absolutely.
believe that's something that could have happened. And I was listening to a podcast and these guys were talking about this exact incident. And their thought was, well, if this naval ship accidentally shot a missile and shot this plane down, people would have came forward and said, oh, we did shoot a missile, but everyone refused to agree with it. And I'm like, bullshit. And they're like, anyone don't know what, even if someone told these guys not to say that they shot a missile, they would have told someone, bullshit. If you are given an order, keep your mouth shut, you're going to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, you're gonna lose.
As
your
a
job.
soldier, a seaman, or an airman,
Seaman.
or a
I'll
Marine,
take the
if you are
seaman.
told by your supervision, you keep quiet on this, you're not allowed to talk about this, you're not allowed to do this, you're not going to freaking do it.
Well, that happens everywhere you go. That happens in normal
I
people.
know.
Right.
But I'm just saying, it's easy for the government to
I thought
have
this,
taken
I
it
thought
out
this
and
was going
covered
to be
it
a short video. That's why I was raising my hand.
It
Go
is.
ahead, tell us what you
Go ahead,
feel.
hit me.
No, I wanted him to keep going on.
What you
about
just
his-
told me.
about his
Because he's over there like this.
I want him to keep talking about his NORAD theory.
Look, I don't.
totally different, man.
I am on as the middleman here in many ways.
I mean, I get where Dave's coming from, but
yes,
I don't.
I don't think it was a military accident either, or a military on purpose either.
And all
My-
I'm saying is for you to say, I don't think we had borderline the technology.
No, I think they have.
the
What do you think?
the
Matt?
technology was
I think
there.
they had
Absolutely.
I think they had some old fucker working on that plane that had been there for 20 plus years.
And
This
that
plane was also-
broke down.
And it was also 4 years past its lifespan. It was supposed to be 20 years, and it had hit 24
That's
years
right.
on this flight.
They had some crew on there that had been
One guy.
working.
They had one guy.
Let me
working.
finish my statement.
Well, hurry
And
up.
then
You wanted.
you-
Hey,
You don't
hey,
talk
back up,
any
back
other
up.
time.
Let's not fight.
Shut up.
Let's not fight.
Come on, put your missile out there.
I'm trying, but you won't keep your mouth closed.
Keep it in your pants. That's all I gotta
Yeah,
say.
don't put your baby missile out there.
All right, so where are you going?
How do you know? How do you?
Oh my God.
Rated R.
There we go.
How do you know?
That's fine. Now it can hear you.
I think what happened is, yes, this plane was past its lifespan.
Yeah.
And I think you had a crew on there that didn't give a shit because they had been there for, say, 15 years.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, looks fine to me. I don't really care. Because how many jobs have you worked at where you worked there so long that you're just like, yep, looks good.
Right
whatever.
now.
Okay, now I'm gonna preface what you're getting ready to say, and it's gonna back up what you're saying right now. On top of everything you're saying already, this plane sat on the tarmac for almost 2 hours, I believe, because they were looking for someone who was supposed to be on the plane, who had checked baggage, but they weren't on the plane. And back then, if you checked baggage, they had to make sure you were on that plane because otherwise they think it's a bomb that you checked baggage onto this flight and then never show up for a flight. What came about it is they ended up finding out that this person was already on the plane. So this thing sat and air conditioners running, trying to keep people cool because it's July, you know, it's warm,
Yeah.
for a good hour to 2 hours. So through all this time, and the air conditioners that blow the cool air are right by that center fuselage
I mean,
where the fuel tanks are.
yes, I get what you're saying.
So,
I mean,
so I'm saying, what I'm saying is
you're sitting there and that thing is just getting hot.
it's getting hot.
It's baking in the sun.
Vaporizing any fuel
And then-
that's inside
and
that
then
tank.
It could also have been the pilots where they're like, dude, I've done this for 20 years. Let's just go because I want to get this trip over with.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Well, these
X
guys,
amount, you know, like say, this is my 4th time doing this trip. I hate doing this trip. I just want to get
I just
over
wanna
it.
get going.
So we're going.
and they had already been delayed for so long, they were like,
Yes.
screw it, we're getting out of here, let's go.
Yes.
We're on our way out.
Yeah.
And that's
how
why-
many jobs have you been to where you get to that point to where you're just like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Send
just
it.
do it.
Ship it.
Yeah, send it. It's done. Whatever. I'm not fighting with it. I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah.
I've had enough of it. Send it out.
It's the next guy's problem.
Right. And
And
that's come to bite me a few times. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
Um.
I mean, you have that problem anywhere you go.
Yes.
So I could.
Hell, we have.
I could literally see that happening.
Yeah, it could be. And supposedly somebody worked on it before it just took off.
Right. There was also a disabled piece of ground equipment, which caused part of the delay. Besides the passenger baggage issue, there was other issues with the plane itself before they could even take off. So everything you're saying is very believable. My problem is just because you have, which I agree with everything that you've said so far, but just because you have vaporized fuel in this tank, you need something to spark it. And yeah, it could be a short circuit, it could be a spark from something else, but what if it's a bomb? What if there's an explosive
I mean,
in there?
it very well
It
could have
could
been a
be.
bomb.
And that's where...
Because, I mean, jet fuel doesn't ignite like the gas for our vehicles does.
Right.
It's more
It's
of
a lot
an
like a
oily-
diesel.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's
diesel.
like a diesel.
Yes. It's like
Yeah.
diesel.
So it takes a little bit more for
It
It
ignition.
definitely takes like a flame of
It
some
takes more than just a
sort.
little itty bitty spark.
Right.
Yeah.
And the way the plane broke apart, like the part where the crew was, the pilots and everything, broke off, and then the plane continued to go up in altitude before it started coming down, and it exploded again. So my thought process is, if there was
Many
multiple explosions, multiple bombs, you know, like maybe a small little pipe bomb and then some kind of C4 to finish it off. I mean, any of these things are possibilities.
I don't see that though.
I mean,
How you get?
Maybe
How
not,
you get
but-
a C4 past people?
I mean, security
if
wasn't
it's
that.
well, this
tight.
is where, right? This is pre 9/11.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I get
This
that.
is pre
I
9/11.
get
You
that.
could do
But-
lots of shit.
I mean, I
Yeah.
get that, but how?
Look, it could be in the bottom of your luggage.
This happened in '96. In 1997, when I flew out for boot camp, my
I get
parents,
it. You could have a knife on a plane. You could
my
have this. that,
my
the other.
parents, my sisters, my nephew,
But-
tons of people came with me to my
My question
gate
you
where I
is,
was flying out of.
Yeah.
If you did that, it blew up,
Mm-hmm.
and you were a terrorist,
Or the government.
Oh, yeah, or the government, which
You love the
It-
government.
it could-
You did it.
I don't.
He is a
I
government.
don't.
Government
I don't.
guy.
The government we got right now.
Yeah.
Big white ball guy. I don't hate it.
I don't believe
And
you.
I mean, it's during Clinton era, I get it, and
Yeah.
you know, but if
I'm not saying.
theoretically, let's say, okay, if you're a terrorist, you get a bomb on this plane, you blow the shit out of it.
Yep.
And you know, okay, look, they ain't looking for any of this crap. They're trying to cover it up because they don't want people to panic or whatever.
Right.
Why are you not sending more than people over then to blow up more planes quicker?
It'd be like
Well,
9/11 though.
I'll give you the reason. I can give him the exact reason for this. Because this got so
Because
much
Desert
publication. This got so much publication that they couldn't do it again without them knowing something else is going on.
Yeah.
But
One
my,
exploding plane,
no, that's
you
my,
can make pass.
that's my point. Is if you did that,
Mm-hmm.
it blows up, and then the government comes out and says all this other BS crap. Then why are you not saying, okay, the government's going to cover this up?
Because the next one, they
we're
won't be
gonna,
able to cover it up.
but why wouldn't you? Because they're already covering up the first one you did.
You can cover up one. You can't
Cover
cover
up
up
two?
10.
Yeah. It'd
That's
be like,
the
oh,
issue.
we had another
Yeah.
Boeing blow up. Then
Man,
people start fucking
Because I
pissed,
said
and then Kevin's like, I'm done. I'm eating in 15 minutes.
I know.
All right. So let's. I don't know how this is going to get edited in, but this is where we're picking back up.
Boom.
All right. Another
Tough acting
thought
tonight.
process is that maybe there was a meteorite that came into our solar system,
I
or
read
into
about
our
that. The
orbit.
Boulderite or whatever.
Yes, and it came in and didn't break up, like a normal, where was that?
Aliens.
It's not aliens.
Totally aliens.
Blew up.
Diabetic aliens.
Disintegrated.
But anyways, it didn't break apart like most meteorites do, and it hit the plane and broke it apart, and then with the heat in the fuselage making the fuel aerate and heat up, that helped with the explosion. So that's another thought
It could
process.
be.
But I mean, we're all gonna have our own ideas of what it's really gonna be. And
It blew up.
and in the end, that's what it did. It was an older plane. It had been decently maintained as far as anything I've read, but there could have been some shortcuts.
Till it blew up.
Sitting in hot weather on the tarmac, waiting to take off,
Blew up.
heating up. You know, it's hard to tell what happened. We get it. It blew up.
Blew up.
It blew up. Dave,
Jesus.
your final thoughts on this one. What do you think happened? What are you towards?
I'm in the middle.
You do realize we could talk about this for
I'm-
the next 20
I'm
minutes,
unsure
That's
because.
why we're trying to end it for you so you can go home and eat.
Yeah, princess.
right? Here,
Oh.
you.
Whatever. Click
Yeah.
I
that.
don't know. I'm in the middle because the government has done stuff and covered it up, and acted like nothing happened. So I can see us people are just players.
Keep going.
Come on, us people are just like players in their chess game.
Yes.
So if they blow
are you
up
a rook or a knight?
I'm a knight.
He's a pawn.
You're
He's a.
You're
We
a pawn.
look.
We're all
The way we
pawns.
live,
Are you
we're all
kidding me? You're a
pawns.
pawn.
We are all
So
pawns.
I can see the government accidentally testing out their system on a plane and saying, "Oops, our bad. Cover it up. What's fucking 50 people bad?"
Let's say,
you
let's
know?
say a meteorite
Yeah.
blew it up.
Or what's a plane carry? 100 people?
There was 230 people.
Yeah. What's
Wow,
230 people missing out of a multi-million people? You know,
Planet.
Multi-million people.
So
Multi-million just in this country. So yeah.
I'm kind of in between. Yes, I see where the practical logic is, but also I don't really trust the government. So I'm landed in the middle.
All right.
It blew up.
That's all you got.
That's it.
That's
You
it.
don't think it was mechanical failure?
I think it was a lackadaisy crew that had been doing it for so dang long that they just went through the motions and said ship it. And then the pilots had done this trip X amount of times and they just wanted to get going. It blew up.
Both the pilot and the co-pilot had over 30 years with TWA flights. So
It blew up.
But they were killed too.
yes, everybody on the plane, 230 passengers in flight.
What do you think would happen, Dave? Think they just
Maybe they got
coasted
to,
on the ocean?
maybe they got to some parachutes. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe they landed on Roanoke Island.
They might be. They went to fucking Egypt.
They didn't make it that far. The
Come on,
plane
back.
blew up.
they transported there with the aliens to do the
Time travel.
brass copper tops on the freaking pyramids.
There were no
Yeah.
brass copper tops.
Dude.
We're not talking about
We're not
that.
getting to
You
that
two,
right now. We're not
please
fighting.
tell him he's wrong.
We're not fighting on this.
Just
one.
leave in the comments.
That he is wrong.
Who do you think is right?
They
John.
had copper
This
tops.
guy. He has 2 thumbs.
Electromagnetic.
It blew up.
All right. So
John, what do you think?
my thought
I saw it got blowed up.
My thought process is one of two things happened, much like everyone else. Most likely, the center fuselage got heated up by the air conditioners running for 2 hours on tarmac in July weather, aerated the fuel, some kind of short circuit or something else blew it up. I also 100% agree with Dave on the fact that I don't trust the government. I don't trust that the Clintons didn't have this plane blown up for some personal reason. Just like when Epstein hung himself,
Suicide.
Who knows?
Suicide.
It's just kind of a weird situation.
Carlisle.
The missile issue for me is they found nothing as far as fragments from a missile, where a bomb blowing up, that's a little bit more plausible without there being much evidence to it. Especially if it wouldn't take a very large explosion to blow up to break this plane apart, and then have the other issues be what made it go up in flames. So in the end, I'm going to say it was probably a mechanical error caused by sitting on tarmac for too long. But I am never going to say that there's no way it was the government doing it, because believe me, they've had their chances and they have the ability to do so.
They probably have.
Yeah. All right, so any last words before we sign off?
Don't trust the government.
It blew up.
I'm working with idiots here.
What are we talking about in the next episode of the regular?
Oh,
guys?
next
Yes.
episode of regular. You picked it.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
You can bring it up.
Sorry. We're gonna talk about the Freemasons and the conspiracy that they may have with, like, in our government, our money, their secret society that they have,
It's gonna be a
and
big one.
what kind of knowledge and or input they have or influence they have towards America.